I met Christopher in January 1989 when he was the director of the British Library National Sound Archive. And he raised a grant from the British Library that was spent in the University of Cambridge to develop the prototype of what would become the very first pre-prototype CEDAR system. And this was shown on the BBC TV programme Tomorrow's World, after which it just created a huge response, letters, telephone calls, faxes in those days, of people wanting to know how they got hold of this wonderful software that got rid of these clicks and thumps and crackles and so on. So the British Library realised they had a bit of a tiger by the tail, but they had no idea what to do with it. So they decided to create a company to market this new software. So they went out looking for somebody who had a bit of commercial background, who had a technical scientific background, and who knew people within the music industry. And that was me. So I met Christopher almost by chance in January '89, and basically he offered me the job there and then to create what would be, very shortly afterwards, would be established as CEDAR Audio Limited. When CEDAR was set up by the British Library, there was no money, there was no finance. So they entered a partnership with Cable and Wireless, the telecommunications giant, to raise a small amount of money to be able to pay for the incorporation of the company and all of the formal stuff. So there was very little cash available. And what we had to do was find a way of eking that out until the company could stand on its own 2 feet. And the way that we did that was we used the prototype systems to provide a bureau service. And by using the prototype systems as we developed them, we were able to bring in enough revenue to stay in the black until we were able to develop and sell the very first CEDAR system. I remember once at an AES convention in the USA, we'd borrowed a turntable, an EMT turntable, and we had an old 78 RPM record, and we invited people. Pick up the tone arm, put it down, hear the music, press what was then F9 as it happens on the keyboard, process on off, listen to the before and after, lift the tone arm, the music stops, put it down again, the music continues. And we had this one chap come on. He was rooting around the stand, he was lifting up curtains and moving stuff out of the way, whatever. And he eventually came up to me and said, "I've got it. This is a brilliant, brilliant demo," he said. "I've worked it out. You've got a relay on the back of the tone arm so that when you pick it up and put it down, you start and stop the digital playback. And you've got this switch which switches between the befores and afters that you've pre-processed." He said, obviously it's impossible to do this in real time, but how you've set it up so that people can hear what it would sound like if you could is really brilliant. We couldn't convince this guy that he was actually hearing real-time audio processing. The DNS 1000 was possibly the most important product since the establishment of the company. And the DNS 1000 came about because we were approached by various post-production houses to develop a digital equivalent to the analog noise reduction systems that they'd been using up until that point. So they approached us, and one of our directors made a number of trips to various studios, and rather than developing what they asked for, we looked at what they needed. There have been so many exciting projects over the years, and they've been in all sorts of different areas of the company's activity. When you get to clean up a live album of your favourite band, how fantastic is that? When you get a credit on Star Wars movies, how incredible is that? And then on the side that we can't talk about, on the forensics and security side, we've worked on some amazing things. And fortunately, we've stopped a lot of bad things from happening. So there's just so many things that are just exciting, stimulating, whatever words you want to use. I think our greatest achievement is being here. And we started with almost nothing, but perhaps just a vision, an idea, a belief that this research project could turn into something meaningful. And all of the things that have happened along the way, they've all been stepping stones. I mean, in January it will be 30 years since we opened the doors of CEDAR Audio Limited. We've come through sort of ups and downs, financial ups and downs, sort of world recession at one point and so on. And we're still here. And we're still doing things that our customers tell us are valid, that they like, that they want to use. So if there is a greatest achievement, I think it's still being here 30 years later.